How in the world are Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs going to replace Nolan Smith? That's the big question that I have for you today. Listen, dude was an all-time Bulldog, #1 prospect in the country out of high school, has bled red and black for the last 4 years in Athens, helped lead Georgia to 2 straight national championships. The guy is an all-time Bulldog, right? Now, as far as production goes, Georgia can replace Nolan Smith. He only had 18 tackles, 7 tackles for a loss, which was impressive, and 3 sacks. Now, I know he got hurt against the Gators and missed the rest of the season. I get that. But from a production standpoint, Georgia can replace that. They can get guys in who can put up those type of numbers in 2023. But it's his leadership that I think Georgia is really going to miss, not only from the outside linebacker position, but from the defense and, across the team in general. If we're talking about leaders in the Kirby Smart era, Nolan Smith is right up there with Nakobe Dean, Roquan Smith, Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, whoever, right? He was an elite leader for this program, and replacing that is going to be really tough. But there are plenty of hungry, young, talented outside linebackers who are eager to see the field and make a name for themselves. And that's what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be breaking down who an outside linebacker could have a massive breakout season in 2023. But before I do that, I have to plug the newsletter, right? I've been plugging Double Dogs almost in every video, right? Make sure you check that out too. It might be the greatest book on sale right now in the world. They are flying off the shelves. But sign up to the newsletter. We've been writing stories left and right for the past week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We're always writing stories, and especially me, because recruiting, as you know, they're the hottest team on the recruiting show right now. Commitments here, commitments there, commitments probably coming up soon. So make sure you are signed up to the newsletter and pick up a Dawg Post subscription so you can read all of the scoop that we've got. We're going to be talking about the 2024 schedule soon, breaking down that. SEC Media Days are coming up, so make sure you sign up to the newsletter so you don't miss a thing. So, okay, back to what you're watching this video for, right? Who is going to be Georgia's outside linebacker? Who's going to make a name for themselves? The first candidate is obviously Chaz Chambliss. He's the most experienced guy. He may not have the length and ideal size for the position, but dude played in 12 of 15 games last year, made 16 tackles, 2 sacks, and 8 more quarterback pressures. He can get after the quarterback. He's tough. He's physical. He will strike you. He's going to leave a bruise when he hits, and he knows how to naturally get after the quarterback. That's what we knew he was going to do out of high school, out of Carrollton. The guy knows how to attack the quarterback. So I think he is going to be probably the first guy on the depth chart at outside linebacker. And then you get to more talent, right? The first guy next that comes to mind is Marvin Jones Jr. Was a 5-star out of American Heritage in that 2022 class. Big deal. But he missed the spring, right? He did play a good bit last year against 6'5", 250. So he's got the size, he's got the length, but he played in 13 games, mostly on defense and special teams. Did not have a ton of tackles, but the potential is obviously there. But I'll just say his name. It was Pat Surtain, right? The old coach at American Heritage, who is now at Florida State. I was speaking with him at Buford's practice. He was there checking out KJ Bolden. He wants KJ Bolden to play cornerback. Just a little snippet there. They're pushing hard for KJ Bolden. But I was talking to him about some American Heritage guys, and he said, I love Marvin Jones Jr. What he brings to the table. He's going to be a big-time player. But he better watch out, because Georgia just brought in some dogs in that 2023 class, and I'm going to talk about those guys in a second. I've talked about them a number of different times. If you watch Georgia's spring game, or if you've been watching my videos about the 23 class, you know all about Damon Wilson, Sam Pimba, and Gabe Harris. I'm going to talk about them in a second, but Marvin Jones Jr., this was a big spring to miss, all right? And sometimes with the freshmen, the light doesn't completely turn on, but it starts flickering, right? Throughout their freshman season, they learn more and more and more. They start picking things up. They play better and better. They probably see the field a little bit more as the season went on. And that's what I believe happened with Marvin Jones Jr. He did see the field, and he was playing. And you could tell that the coaches wanted him to get into those ball games late in the season and late in games, because they see the potential he has, and they think he could have a big season this upcoming fall. But missing the spring is big. It's always big for development, especially those guys who were wrapping up their freshman season, the spring going into their sophomore season. That's where things really start to click, right? And that's when they start becoming the player that the staff thinks that they could be. So I thought it was unfortunately massive that he missed the spring due to a shoulder injury. So that was a setback. There's no doubt about it. So he needs a big fall camp to hold off these young guys coming in. But he does have a natural pass rush that the staff likes. Once he gets healthy and starts to really know the playbook inside and out, he's got the tools. He's got the physical tools. He's quick off the line of scrimmage, lived in the backfield in high school, played against really tough competition, and still was an alpha. And I still think he could be an alpha at Georgia, but really would have loved to have seen him play in the spring to just hone in that development, work on his craft, and be the player that I think he could be. He'll get to that point, but he's got some guys behind him. CJ Madden is another one. He redshirted last year. He was a 3-star out of Cedar Grove, helped lead the Saints to a state title his senior year. Not necessarily the pass rusher that Chaz Chambliss and Marvin Jones Jr. are, but he's thick. He's listed at 6'4", 230, but I do think he's going to get some reps at outside linebacker too. So he's kind of a name people may have forgotten about, but if he continues to develop and progress, I think he might be able to see the field. But Darris Smith is the guy that Marvin Jones Jr. really needs to hold off. I mean, you talk about an ideal length, 6'5", 225, tremendous athlete, was track and field star at Appling County, but he was dominant in high school, played in 10 games last year, only made 4 tackles, but this is a guy where if the light continues to start, turning on for him and he understands his role more and more, he's another guy with the physical tools already. I mean, you look at him and you're thinking, okay, this is a Leonard Floyd guy. He looks the part. If it all comes together and he continues to work on his pass rush and getting to the quarterback in different ways, he can be tough to keep off the field. And I still think that. You saw him, leap for the block against Ohio State, that game-winning field goal that they missed. If that ball was kicked straight and towards the goalpost, Darris Smith could have blocked that bad boy. I mean, he is long and athletic, and I think he has a very high ceiling. So this could be a possible breakout year for Darris Smith. There's no doubt about it. Had 1 tackle against Ohio State, 1 tackle against TCU. So those 2 tackles were part of his 4. He played more and more as the season went on. Would not surprise me at all if we saw a lot of Darris Smith, that outside linebacker, trying to get after the quarterback. He still needs to, become more of a run stopper, a run defender, but there's no doubt that he can get after the quarterback. I think we're going to see that a good bit in 2023. So he's an easy breakout candidate for me. Then you have the freshmen. If you watched G-Day closely, you saw Sam and Pimba all over the place. You saw Damon Wilson all over the place. These are guys who can get after the quarterback. That's just what they do. Damon Wilson was a 5-star, top 15 prospect in the country for a reason. He's got the size. He's got the bend. He's got the explosiveness. He can, he's got a great motor. He is a natural pass rusher who's only going to get better. The guys in front of him better watch out because it's going to be tough. Like Darris Smith, I said, a minute ago, it's going to be tough to keep Damon Wilson off the field. Sam and Pimba, all over the place. Just muscles all over the place. He's got some length. He's got a great build, and he is a natural pass rusher as well. Great motor. He can run down the ball carrier and did that a couple times at G-Day. I mean, those guys really flashed. And you said, oh, okay, these are the freshmen Matt was talking about for the last 12 months. They really are good, and they are going to see the field probably sooner than later. And Gabe Harris, 6'5", 250, is one of the more athletic overall outside linebackers across the country in last year's class. I mean, he is going to make a name for himself too. But Damon Wilson and Sam and Pimba could be household names by the end of their freshman year. Now, they might not start because Chaz Chambliss is going to see the field. I mean, he's just going to. That's your veteran right now of this group. And he's somewhat proven. He wasn't a starter or anything like that, but he's, played a decent bit. Marvin Jones Jr. has that 5-star potential, that ability. If he gets healthy, I think he is going to play a considerable amount this year. Darris Smith, if he keeps improving, again, it's going to be tough to keep him off the field. CJ Madden is still all potential. Still got to really get it going and prove that he can play instead of these guys. We might see him in mop-up duties late in games, but these freshmen I've been high on for a long, long time. They can naturally get after the quarterback, and if they continue to progress, and it becomes even easier for them to attack the quarterback and stop the run as well. They've got to do that. But I think, the sky's the limit for guys like Sam Mpemba, Damon Wilson, and then Gabe Harris, I continue to hear a lot about. So there are plenty of talented, hungry guys at outside linebacker waiting for their turn. They may not be able to replace the leadership that Nolan Smith brought. I think that's what the defense may be lacking overall, as compared to last year. But from a talent perspective, it's there, and they can replace the production. Super uber talented outside linebacking group, and I think we're going to see a lot of those guys this upcoming season. What do you think? Drop a comment in the section below. Love hearing from y'all. Stay tuned to the next video that I have coming up right now, or Dean might have coming up right now. And make sure you sign up to the newsletter. I will see you over on Dawg Post.